British police launched a major manhunt after a homemade bomb exploded on a subway train in southwest London. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility, and the British government raised the threat level to critical, meaning another attack could be imminent. Pádraig O'Brien of Independent Television News has our report.
This is the remains of a device detonated on a packed tube train at 8:20 this morning. The fifth terrorist attack in the UK this year targeted the morning commute, the school run.
Right, guys, let's get away and let's move right down the end of the platform.
29 people were treated in hospital. There were no serious injuries. Two teachers, one stopped from work, were near the device as it went off at the back of the train. Described a fireball coming at them down the carriage.
I saw the fire emerge towards my side. So I heard a lady screaming.
I was falling over people myself, and I was just saying to myself, keep upright, because either you're going to be crumpled to death or you've got a madman behind you, because I still didn't know what was going on.
People described to us a flash of fire suddenly running up the walls of the carriage, burning those nearby. Then the panic.
That moment when people were running towards me and pushing you out the way, and you're unsure of what's happening, you don't know whether to fight or run, and it was that sort of 10 seconds of sheer panic, and the whole train went through it, and it was just like a tidal wave.
But now what's happening is that I think people are getting crushed on the stairwell.
After the initial surge of people, this was the scene on the crowded platform. People trying to make sense of what had happened. Still partly on fire when these pictures were taken, wires are clearly visible sticking out from the would-be bomb. It's still not known exactly why it failed to fully detonate. It's been reported that some sort of timer device may have been attached to the IED. The official police statement today didn't speak to this point, but emphasised that the search is on for a perpetrator.
President Trump reacted to the attack with a tweet that suggested police could have done more to prevent it. British Prime Minister Theresa May responded by saying, quote, "I never think it's helpful for anybody to speculate on what is an ongoing investigation." Later, the two spoke by phone. The White House said the president's criticism may have come up in the conversation. Mr. Trump voiced confidence today that the U.S. options for dealing with North Korea are, quote, both effective and overwhelming. He spoke after the North Koreans launched another ballistic missile over northern Japan. At the White House, the president's national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, called for rigorous enforcement of sanctions to cripple the North's economy.
What's different about this approach is that we're out of time. We've been kicking the can down the road, and we're out of road. And so for those who have said and have been commenting about the lack of a military option, there is a military option. Now, it's not what we would prefer to do. So what we have to do is call on all nations, call on everyone to do everything we can to address this global problem short of war.
The North's latest missile flight covered 2,300 miles. That would be far enough to reach the U.S. territory of Guam. This afternoon, the UN Security Council condemned the launch. A judge in St. Louis has acquitted a white former police officer, Jason Stockley, in a fatal shooting. He was charged in the killing of a black man, Anthony Lamar Smith, after a high-speed chase in 2011. After today's verdict, hundreds of protesters marched, most of them peacefully. A small group confronted police and got pepper sprayed. More glimmers of progress today in the recovery from Hurricane Irma. Utilities in Florida say they've restored farewell today, burning up in Saturn's atmosphere. Flight controllers destroyed the vehicle to prevent it from crashing into one of two moons that may harbor life. NASA animation showed Cassini's final plunge. It had nearly exhausted its fuel after recording more than 450,000 images and a huge trove of data.
The discoveries that Cassini has made over the past 13 years in orbit have rewritten the textbooks of Saturn, have discovered worlds that could be habitable, and have guaranteed that we will return to that ringed world. So the fantastic discoveries that continue to be made with the last set of ring-crossing orbits and in the grand finale of Cassini haven't really even been studied yet.
Cassini was launched in 1997. It's the only spacecraft ever to orbit Saturn. A federal judge in Chicago today blocked the Justice Department from withholding grants for cities that harbor undocumented immigrants. The temporary injunction applies nationwide to so-called sanctuary cities that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration agents. Chicago is one of at least 7 cities and counties that have balked at enforcing tougher immigration rules. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained more than 64 points to close at 22,268. The Nasdaq rose 19 points, and the S&P 500 added 4, hitting 2,500 for the first time. And something new at the White House today, an 11-year-old boy mowing the lawn. Frank Giacchio of Falls Church, Virginia, got the gig after offering his services to President Trump. This morning, he cut the rose garden grass, and he kept his focus even when the president walked alongside him. Mr. Trump called him the future of the country. The boy said he usually charges $8 a lawn, but he did the White House job for free.